and welcome back to the 50th Annual AAKP National Patient Meeting. My name is David Rodriguez. I am a kidney and liver transplant recipient from Texas. I am honored to serve as a member of the AAKP National Board of Directors and AAKP Ambassador in the great state of Texas. It's an honor to be part of a historic milestone as we celebrate the golden anniversary of this event. Our theme, 50 proud years of patient education, 50 years of saving lives, 50 years of saving livelihoods, and reflect on both the extraordinary progress that we made and enduring mission that guide us. For 5 decades, AAKP has been committed to empowering patients, supporting innovations, and driving policy change in kidney care. This meeting is not only a celebration of our past, but also a look forward to the future we continue to build together. One of the greatest patient care choices, stronger communities, and better outcomes for all impact by kidney disease. I'm excited to introduce today's session, Fuel for Your Kidneys, the Power of Nutrition. This session is an interactive session that aims to give you practical tools to make food a powerful part of your care plan. We're joined by 2 incredible presenters. Annamarie Rodriguez is a good friend to AAKP. She's a registered dietitian and the winner of the 2025 Medal of Excellence Award in the renal dietitian category. She has nearly 30 years of experience working with patients with CKD and ESK. Annamarie owns Nutrition Directions, where she partners with patients on their food journey and helping them make sustainable changes that improve quality of life. She has a master's in health and wellness management, is certified in lifestyle medicine professional, and is passionate about empowering patients through nutrition, physical activity, stress management, and other pillars of wellness. You've likely seen her name across AAKP materials as she's written a number of articles for the AAKP Renal Life magazine and been a featured part of AAKP's Are You OK campaign, recognizing National High Potassium Awareness Day of our Hidden P in Kidney Disease campaign, recognizing National Phosphorus Awareness Day. And today's co-presenter is none other than esteemed Mr. Oliver Hale, Mr. better known as Chef O. Chef O is a 2-time kidney transplant recipient, former tennis star, award-winning chef, a member of the AAKP National Board of Directors, AAKP Ambassador. Through his passion for food, he has dedicated his life to teaching dialysis and transplant patients how to cook healthy, kidney-friendly meals. He's also hosted over 300 episodes of an award-winning cooking show, represented Team USA and Team Michigan at the World Transplant Games, and earned thousands of medals along the way. His goal is simple: help patients cook, eat, and live better wherever they are in their own kidney journey. We got a real treat for you today. First, Annamarie will give an informative presentation, and then Chef O will provide a live cooking demo. He'll share his personal journey with kidney disease and show us how to prepare AAKP delicious recipe for our newest edition. And let's get started. Annamarie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to do any work. It's an honor to be with AAKP and to spend time with you today talking about my very favorite topics, which is food, of course, and kidneys. So let's begin. Disclosures, mere formality. Let's get down to business. Now, I am on a mission to make you hungry because we're heading to lunchtime, and we're also heading to Chef O, who is going to do a little cooking. So these pictures throughout the slides are really delicious looking with the goal of making you very hungry. We're going to look at a menu or a meal starting with appetizers. We have a lot to discuss today. We're going to look at research to better understand the strategies and challenges across the entire spectrum of kidney disease where nutrition is concerned, and how it is impacted by modalities and age as well plays a role. We're going to evaluate the benefits of plant-based nutrition as well. Fun fact, kidney-friendly eating is indeed possible. Once upon a time, it may not have seemed so. Gone are the days of white bread and frozen butterballs, and believe me, that's how I was taught when I first started working with kidney patients about 30 years ago. Frozen butterballs, ooh. Gone are the days of fiber-rich foods, fruits and veggies, but enter healthy, nutritious eating that is heart healthy and not only kidney healthy, but diabetes friendly as well. And anytime we're introducing wholesome, nutritious grains, fiber-rich foods such as fruits and veggies, we're also using an anti-inflammatory approach, which is, it's easy to say, it fights all diseases, including cancer. Healthy, nutritious eating is in balance and moderation is favorable for any health condition. And patients with kidney disease, as well as any other disease, should never be fearful of food. That is my goal, is to make nutrition easy. What is the goals of nutrition and kidney disease? In a nutshell, we want to minimize the risks associated with kidney disease, and we want to minimize the progression of the disease itself, from CKD to CKD 5D. Notice, I'm not saying end-stage kidney disease. End-stage has such a negative connotation, so we're kind of getting away from that. Now, we've talked a little bit about appetizers. Now let's look at the menu, and what do we have? As an entree, we have nutrition basics, or the nutrient prescription. And the three things that I get most often asked are the 3 Ps: protein, phosphorus, and potassium. So these are typically the items that I get most frequently asked about, so let's begin with protein. Protein needs in persons with CKD stages 3 to 5, not on dialysis, are often very restrictive, with a low protein diet of 0.55 to 0.6 grams per kilogram, or a very low protein diet of 0.28 to 0.43 grams per kilogram. Someone who's following such a very low protein diet intake would need keto acid analogs in order to keep a positive nitrogen balance. But I want to point out that anyone following this very low protein diet should be metabolically stable. This may not be the right approach for everybody. And also, too, if a person has diabetes, we may want to add a little bit more protein, going up to 0.6 to 0.8 grams per kilogram per day. What does this actually look like? That's a normal protein intake. We don't even need more protein than that, unless we're an athlete training for a race, a growing adolescent or child, or a woman who's nursing or pregnant. Or perhaps we do have a comorbid condition such as wound healing or another illness that requires more protein. But generally speaking, we don't need more protein than this. When the guidelines were published in 2020, though, the consensus was not clear whether the protein should come from animals or plants. So what is the deal with this? There's been a ton of research that has been published before the guidelines in 2020 and since that shows a very favorable outcome as far as plant protein is concerned and helping alleviate the progression of kidney disease. And that is basically because it's less damaging to the kidneys. It's kidney protective because of the alkalinity. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we progress. Now, digging into our entree a little bit more, we're going to look at other nutrient recommendations. As far as sodium and calcium is concerned, it's pretty much static across the entire population. And what I mean by that is sodium is about 2,300 milligrams clear across the board for basically everyone. There's little variances here and there, but for the most part, pretty static. Calcium, same thing, 800 to 1,000 milligrams. There are several population groups that might need a little bit more calcium, such as persons over 70 or adolescents, but for the most part, this is pretty much static. And then energy. You can see that the energy needs are pretty widespread, 25 to 35 calories per kilogram. That's a big range, but people have different needs, and we don't want to pinpoint 1 calorie level clear across the board. We may have an adolescent who has very high energy needs and who is in a rapid state of growth, or we may have someone who's nearing their geriatric years who is less energetic and maybe not as active. Now notice, phosphorus and potassium are set up the same. Adjust diet to maintain serum phosphorus in a normal range. What I want to point out is for phosphorus, consider the bioavailability of phosphorus sources. I'm actually going to bring that into the discussion when I talk about potassium as well. Now let's look at a side of supplements. How about multivitamins? For the most part, these are not necessary unless we are not eating enough fruits and vegetables, whole grains, if our diet is inadequate, and in some instances, if we are experiencing a uremia and our appetite is low, or for other health reasons we just don't have a good appetite, then yes, we may need to use a multivitamin supplement. But for the most part, multivitamins are not always necessary. I do want to point out, though, that when persons are on dialysis, they may actually lose some nutrients during a dialysis procedure, especially some water-soluble vitamins and some micronutrients. The fat-soluble vitamins are stored in our fat cells, so our body hangs tight to those for a long time, like vitamin A. But for other water-soluble vitamins, such as B vitamins or vitamin C, those may be dialyzed out, but not to the extent where we need mega doses. We just need a small amount. Now let's look closely at other nutrients, such as calcium. The main goal with calcium is to maintain a neutral calcium balance. And this can vary a lot for almost all patients. There's no cut and dry cookie cutter. For persons who have CKD stages 3 to 5, not on dialysis, they may need an active vitamin D analog. But for patients who are on dialysis, almost always they will at one point need an active vitamin D analog. And in instances where a person has hypocalcemia, they may definitely need this to help with the absorption of calcium. Where if a patient has hypercalcemia, which is high calcium, then maybe the need of a calcium mimetic might be necessary to help drive that calcium level down to a normal limit. And so the neutral calcium balance is very important. We also have to take into consideration where all the sources of calcium are coming into. It's not just diet. When someone is on dialysis, they may be using medications that have calcium in those, such as a phosphate binder that might have calcium. In addition, the dialysate that's used, that is the solution that's used in cleaning the blood during dialysis, does have a little bit of calcium as well. So calcium sneaks in a lot of different ways. I do want to also point out that phosphorus and PTH management plays a role with calcium neutrality. So we have to be really careful and just look at the whole picture. And in regards to sodium, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on sodium, but what I do want to point out is that even the World Health Organization looks at the standard amount, 2.3 grams or 2,300 milligrams, and states that this is one of the most cost-effective measures to improve public health. Why is this important for our population, for patients with kidney disease? Well, we want to maintain fluid balance. We want to make sure that we're not lending to more fluid intake. The higher the sodium we eat, the more thirsty we are, the more fluid we will drink. And that becomes especially important for persons who are on dialysis who may not have the ability to remove as much fluid that they may be taking in. Now we dig into my favorite subject, phosphorus. The other P, remember, protein, phosphorus, and potassium. So when it comes down to with phosphorus is it organic or is it inorganic? And what that simply means is if it's organic, it's coming from a natural food source, plants or animal sources. And the bioavailability, or how much it's going to be absorbed, varies between all of those food sources. But if it's inorganic or unnatural, this is in the form of an additive, and the absorption is going to be about 100%. So this is where we really have to be very cautious. I do want to point out, though, from an organic standpoint, plant foods such as grains, seeds, beans, legumes, they do have a higher amount of phosphorus, but it's in the form of phytate or phytic acid. And it requires the enzyme phytase to break it down to make it bioavailable, make the phosphorus bioavailable for absorption. So does this mean that we won't absorb any of the phosphorus since humans don't have phytase? Not so lucky. Cooking will actually break down the foods, make the phosphorus more bioavailable. So it will hydrolyze those materials and make the minerals much more bioavailable. It depends on how how much cooking we're actually doing. High heat, long cooking periods will make more phosphorus available. And in an instance of processed foods, we see that more often because of the very high heat processing and the complexities of the food preparation. I want to point out also that persons that are post-transplant may have hypophosphatemia and may actually have to eat more phosphorus or have a phosphorus supplement. So I have seen that quite often as well. And keeping in mind, phosphorus is not always easy to control once someone is on dialysis. They may actually need a phosphorus binder or an absorption inhibitor that's taken daily to help control phosphorus. This is very important. And oftentimes I've seen patients feel that they are doing something wrong because they now have to take this medication. It's not something that's wrong. It's just a matter of keeping the phosphorus in balance to maintain a serum level within normal limits. Now, potassium is very similar, and when I said I was going to look at it from an organic and an inorganic manner, let me tell you why. If it's inorganic as an additive, then it is going to be absorbed almost 100%, just like phosphorus. Bottom line is there's a lot of additives in our food, and it's not just phosphorus or potassium, it's also calcium, sodium, magnesium, and those different minerals are going to be absorbed about 100% when they're used as additives. But in an inorganic sense, or an organic sense, where we're looking at potassium that's naturally in the food fibers, we're looking at it it has nothing to do with phytate or phytase. We're looking at it from a sense of the fiber, the plant matrix itself. So let me give you an example. A stalk of broccoli has a very rigid plant structure. The potassium is not going to be readily absorbed because it's going to be tightly woven into that plant structure. But as we cook the broccoli, that plant structure loosens up. The fibers loosens up, and therefore we will absorb more of the potassium. So the food preparation plays a big role in making those minerals bioavailable. Also, too, good to know, just as there is medications to help control phosphorus, there is also medication to help control potassium, such as a potassium binder. Now, I'm not a big proponent of medications. For me personally, I would rather have no medications. But if it takes a few medications to help us be able to eat all of the nutritious foods that we need to maintain our kidney function, to maintain our health and longevity and quality of life, I'm all for it. Just a little bit of word on bicarbonate acid load, or NEAP. You might have heard about this NEAP, which is net endogenous acid production. There has been a lot of research on this, and the reason why I lean towards plant-based nutrition really comes down to this, where kidney disease is concerned. We are seeing more and more instances where food is being used as medicine, and this is no different. I'm actually seeing healthcare providers prescribing patients to eat more fruits and vegetables. And the reason why is because fruits and vegetables will lower net endogenous acid production. There's a lot of research that shows this. If persons are not able to eat more fruits and vegetables, then there are medications available that can help maintain a lower acid level, and it's proven to help maintain kidney function. So it's kidney friendly to eat more fruits and vegetables. Just a little bit more about that. Not only are we seeing prescribed fruits and vegetables to lower acid production, but also to help maintain and lose weight and to maintain blood pressure. So clearly, across the board, there's a lot of benefits to be seen with this. And my very last slide will illustrate that a little bit more deeply. You may have heard of the Mediterranean diet. Yes? Yes, of course. Who hasn't? That in itself is largely a plant-based diet. And that is also used not only to lower lipid levels, but because it has higher amounts of fruits and vegetables, it's also useful for, I see the timer, are we good? Okay, also useful for lowering acidity. Now that we've had our entree, let us not neglect sides. We would not have a good meal without a good side. Now I hope you're getting hungry because Chef O is almost ready to start. And these food pictures are making me hungry. But let's look at some sides to see what exactly impacts our nutrient prescription. What stage of kidney disease do we have? Do we still have urine output? What modality are we using? Is it hemodialysis? Is it peritoneal dialysis? Is there a transplant in picture? Are we facing acute kidney injury? Also, in regards to hemodialysis, is it home hemo or in-center? That makes a difference because it's the frequency of the dialysis. And other factors is, why do we have kidney disease? Do we have other comorbid conditions, such as diabetes? What life stage are we in? Are we an adolescent that has high energy requirements, energy needs, or are we middle of the life or geriatric? Also, too, we talked about protein. Protein is very low, as I mentioned, with CKD stage 3 to 5, but much higher in the dialysis setting. But what I want to draw your attention to is one of the other factors that influences our dietary intake is medications. That's what got me, was medications, and that's what injured my kidney function. We have to be very careful about what medications we're on because that can change our health in many different ways. When someone has dealing with post-transplant and is in immunosuppressants, they can really wreak havoc with their outcomes. We can experience hypertension, fluid buildup, high potassium, hyperkalemia, low phosphorus, as I mentioned, low magnesium, and high blood sugar. So oftentimes we'll see these as an outcome with immunosuppressants. Now you'll notice in the middle, I have fruits and vegetables by potassium. Now, potassium and phosphorus is widespread in almost all of our food because it's found in almost all living matter, or all living matter. But I group fruits and vegetables with potassium for a reason, and that's because we now know that it's necessary for health. It's a health approach for people of all ages, for all disease states. And I want to draw your attention to the difference between modalities. Remember I mentioned that it makes a difference between hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis. Hemodialysis is a little bit more restrictive, not so much that we can't have fruits and vegetables, but we need to be moderate and watch our lab outcomes. Whereas in peritoneal dialysis or home hemo, that's not on a slide, so I don't want you to be misled by that. Home therapies is a little bit more liberal approach. Why? Because you're dialyzing every day and you're able to clear your blood on a daily basis. So therefore, you're going to need more nutrients. I often see patients on peritoneal dialysis who are deprived. They need more potassium, and that goes for fluid as well. I often see dehydration in peritoneal patients. So fluid restriction and potassium are two biggies where the changes between home and in-center. All right, we enjoyed our entree with some sides, and now I hope you're ready for some desserts. I'm always ready for desserts. The research says diet is kidney friendly, and I hope that was your key takeaway in looking at all of this is a little bit more liberal approach. Most of the data that we looked at today comes from the 2020 nutrition guidelines. But as you can see by this list that I have on the slide, there is a host of information from research that shows a plant-based approach is beneficial for maintaining kidney function. The entire list of all these research articles and everything else that was covered in these slides is on the very last page of your slides. But I want to share with you my very favorite article. This is the Plato diet, the plant-based, it's plant-dominant, low-protein diet. This is only 0.6 to 0.8 grams in protein per kilogram. That is not truly low protein. But what makes this different is the fact that it's greater than 50% plant-dominant, which means it is lower in acidity, higher in alkalinity, but not only that, it's high in fiber. You're going to have about 25 to 30 grams of fiber following a diet such as this. Fiber alone is kidney protective as well. And the reason why is because the more fiber we eat, the healthier our microbiome. Whenever we're eating a lot of fiber and creating a healthy microbiome, we're eliminating or decreasing toxins such as p-cresyl sulfate or TMAO. We know that those toxins are related to heart disease, diabetes, but we also know now that they are related to kidney disease. So this favorable, healthy microbiome from fiber is very beneficial for kidney disease as well. But this right here is to me, the best approach, and can be applied for patients that are on hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis as well, or transplant, simply by adjusting the protein amount. And with that, I want to say thank you so much. I hope that I will have time to answer questions after our session, and I'm going to turn it over to Chef O at this time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second half of the speech here. My name is Chef Oliver Hale. I go by Chef O, and I am very happy to be here this morning. I am a two-time kidney transplant recipient, total of 40 years. And why have people say, how did you do it? How did you live that long? How do you do it? I'm getting ready to show you. I am a 52-year chef. I have won numerous awards locally. I used to do cooking competition across the United States. And she did, as I said earlier, I did do a cooking show. I did a cooking show for 11 years, 315 shows, and 9 video awards. So I love what I do. And I love passing on my knowledge of cooking to stay healthy, especially dialysis patients. I want them to stay healthy while they're on dialysis, but also maintain a good eating habits. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about, eating habits and eating healthy. It's not all about how much you eat, it's what you eat and how you prepare it. Preparing food is one of the best things someone can do, and you don't need a college education to do a nice meal. No, oh well, I do, but I'm not going to brag about that. But in order to do things, it's the way you prepare it. I first of all, what I have here in my bottle is olive oil. I use olive oil, but I have a brand that I use at home called Oliver Oil. Get it? Ha ha. Oh, you guys are slow. Come on, get there with me. So I love using olive oil because it have a higher hot point, and also it's very nutritious for you to be able to eat and use olive oil. So tonight I'm going to do a chicken dish, but as I do it, I'm going to walk along with you and tell you some things about me, and also tell you some things about cooking, because there are certain things I don't like to see when I see people cooking. The first of all, when you get a chicken breast, I use a lot of boneless, skinless chicken breast. And when you get it, it's thick on one side, and it goes down to get thin. The first thing you do is going to thin that chicken out by using a meat mallet and thin it out. And the way you do it is take saran wrap. You're going to take saran wrap and put over your chicken and pound it to an equal amount. Now, I have one here that I have that I pound it. I have it pre-cooked a little bit. And you see how thin that chicken is. See how thin it is? Because I pounded out where it's evenly. Because if I had it thick like when I bought it, this would not be cooked all the way like this end. And if I do cook it the same way, this is going to be tough. So I'm going to put it in this pan. I have, how many people we got? Okay. I have 2 pieces, so I'm going to do like God did. I'm going to feed everybody with the 2 pieces of chicken. Now, as you see, I got the chicken. It's hot. I got my pan going. Never put chicken in a cold pan of oil. Never. Because if you put the chicken in the pan while it's cold, it's going to soak right into the meat. Okay? So get the pan hot. And you're going to let it saute up a little bit, and which I'm doing. You can see I had it started, but I'm going to let it cook because it's not all the way done. Now, when I do my chicken, I sear it like this, put it in the oven at 350 degrees, an oven at 350 degrees. Don't stand there and turn this over and over and over. you're sauteing it. So why I'm doing this, I'm searing it to keep the juices inside the chicken. So when I put it in the oven, it's going to slowly cook. And it's going to be nice and tender when you do put it together. Okay? Now, when it comes to cooking with things, I love herbs and spices. Love fresh. If you cannot get fresh herbs and spices, you can get some in your produce that's been transported. Today, I have some mushrooms. And here we go. There we go. There we go. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. I got some mushrooms I'm going to go have going here, and then I have some white onions. Now, I love to use purple onion. Why I love purple onion? Because it's a better flavor. It's more, but these are little nice white onions, and we're going to put them in at the same time. Going to let them saute up. And the dish that I'm doing today, some of you may have the recipe close by you or on your table. It's going to be called balsamic chicken. And I want to saute these onions up. And you see that the pan is nice and hot, so it won't take the onions and the mushroom that long to cook. Now, once I get this going and get it down to where I want it, turn this down, I want to put a little flour in it. And why I'm putting the flour in it with the little oil I have, it's going to make a little, what we call roux. And what's roux? It's going to be my thickener to make the sauce with. Don't worry, the smoke is not, that's just for looks, okay? Now, what I'm going to do that I love doing, a lot of people say, why you cook with it? I cook with a lot of wine, white wine. Now, I hope the smoke detectors are okay. Is it okay in here? So I did that at a hospital at Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan, and I set the alarm off. The people in the building weren't too happy when they had to evacuate, so. Now, when you're cooking with wine or anything, liqueur, you have to put it in a hot pan. Why? Because you're burning off the alcohol. Alcohol. People say, well, I'm going to be an alcoholic if I take all that wine. No, it helps when you make the pan hot, when you get the pan hot. So I got the wine in it. I'm going to add next my balsamic vinegar. I love that sound there. Okay. There we go. Got that in there. Now, I'm going to add some honey. Just a little bit. There we go. I don't want much. Okay. Add a little bit more. Now, a lot of time when you also, I wanted to talk to you about breading. When you do your chicken and you bread it, I do not like putting my flour on a plate and put the seasoning in. Take a large gallon Ziploc bag, dump the flour in like a cup of flour, then add your ingredients. I have 4 bags in my freezer. Chicken, pork and beef, veggies, and what's the 4th one? Chicken, fish, pork, and beef. That's what I got, sorry. And I have each one of those bags with different ingredients in for what I'm going to be doing. My fish, I got more dill, I got the seasoning. And the beef, I got a little more seasoning. I got thyme, rosemary, I got a little Italian seasoning. And why I want to do that is because, add a little more wine here. Anybody got want a little bit afterwards? Okay. And what way I'm going to serve this, there you can see it's coming together. I got a couple of twigs of rosemaries, which I just want to tear off. I don't want to put the whole twigs in, just a few of them for flavor. Put those in there. And now you notice one thing I have not used that a lot of people use. What I'm not using? No salt. I will not use any salt. I do not use salt. I have not used salt in about 35 years in my ingredients. Well, how do you make it taste good? Herbs and spices. Mrs. Dash. Well, Dash now is not Mrs. Dash no more. She got a divorce. So, so when you go to the store, you're going to look for Dash. Okay? Look for Dash, and it's a no sodium seasoning. It has all the seasoning you want in it. It's got a good taste to it, and it makes everything. I use it on my vegetables. I use it on my meats, fish, and chicken. I want to see. There we go. Put that right there. And we're going to stir that up. I'm going to take it and we're going to pour this. What was that? There you go. That's what I wanted to hear. And then I'm going to top it with a little asparagus. And that's what I wanted to do. Now, like I say, I'm going to take this plate, cut it up, and pass it around. You're only supposed to get a little piece off of it, okay? And that's going to be enough to feed everyone in here. But when you go to eating and cooking for food for renal patients, you have to think about what you're preparing and how you're preparing it. Also, when you go out shopping, read labels. Read labels. Because there's so much things they put in cans and a lot of stuff in cans or frozen packages. And I tell people also, if you can afford fresh vegetables or frozen vegetables, you're going to use canned vegetable. Take that vegetable out of that can and rinse it off. Please rinse it. Because how long have that veggie been sitting in that can in that juice? Yeah, and you're going to take that and heat it up and put it in your body. No, don't do that. I'm going to set this right here, Mr. Cameraman. And so don't do it. Read it. Read it. When you're using fresh vegetable, don't boil it. Steam it. Try to steam it steam it so you can get the flavor. Because if you boil it, where'd all your nutrition goes? Right into the water. You just throw the veggies away and drink the water. I mean, because there's all your nutrition. And also look for, I'm not big, maybe if you are in organic, but just look for some nice fresh vegetables. Right now with summer coming to the end, in a lot of places, a lot of people cannot get fresh vegetables. So try to use as much as you can by going to your market. I love trying a lot of different things, and try different foods. Try different food. One of the things I enjoy preparing for people, and they get shocked at it, is Brussels sprouts. I mean, a lot of people, I don't like Brussels sprouts. I look at it as a baby cabbage. Taking it, I love making a Brussels sprout coleslaw. Taking it shredded up and make coleslaw with it. Or take it and put it in with Brussels sprouts steamed with pine nuts and heavy cream with nutmeg in it. I mean, just play with your food. I know a lot of this, people say, well, is that good enough for me? Yes. Usually when I get ready to do food, I do a lot of recipes for renal patients. First person I check with is a dietitian. And I go over with the dietitian, and the dietitian says, yes, Chef O, that is good. Yes, you can do it. Because I want to make the food not only taste good, but also easy for you to prepare. I mean, as a French gourmet chef, I can take a menu with 20 items on it and make a very good meal. But for a lot of patients, they don't want to do that. So I can find something with about 4 or 5 ingredients. You take a little bit here, take a little bit there, and make it taste good. And you do not have to use wines. You can use apple juice in some things. You can use cranberry juice in some of your things. Or if you like to, take just a little bit of V8 juice, and put it in something and give it flavor. I know, like I say, a lot of the dietitian would tell you no tomatoes, no bananas, no oranges. Yes, but try a cherry tomato. You can use a cherry tomato in some dishes. So again, we can sit here and talk to you for about, what, 3 hours on things? All day, and try to tell you about how to prepare something. But I'll still be around for a few minutes. I would like for you to come up. I have my card. You can get in touch with me as you write me and say, hey, Chef O, I would like to have a recipe for a piece of cod. And I show you how to do the recipe for the cod. I can show you the way to make sure you got the right nutritional value in it. It's not bad on your phosphorus or your potassium. And I want to make it sure it tastes good. That's the main thing. When I visit dialysis centers and go and talk about food and cooking, that's the first thing to say, well, all the food is bland. No, we do not want to do that at all. We want to make the food enjoyable and tasty. So with that in mind, there is we're passing around some of the dish that I did prepare. I want you to take it and enjoy it, and that's about it. So any questions? We're both going to be here, so thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you, Annamarie and Chef O, for showing us the delicious and empowered kidney-friendly eating can be. We have a few minutes for questions, and for those here in person, please raise your hand, and an AAKP team member will bring the microphone to you to get started. Any questions? Chef, I have one question for you. As someone who lives through kidney disease and transplant, what's one practical change you made in your daily eating habits that help you most, and that other kidney patients might be able to easily adopt?
The first thing you have to do is attitude. You have to change your attitude about eating. I know a lot of people, if they never had a meal or a certain item, they would say, I don't want to try that. You have to learn to experience. There's so much going on. I know Annamarie does a lot of plant-based. There's a lot of vegan. I have did so many projects of vegan, and then no flour, I'm sorry, gluten-free. So you have to learn to adapt to certain changes. And my dad used to tell me, commit and continue. Commit and continue. Commit to something and continue doing it. So commit to trying something new every once in a while, and try to continue eating to build your base of food. Don't get in that rut of doing the same thing. I mean, I can take a chicken breast and say, how many ways you can cook a chicken? I probably can do about 1,200 ways with different sauces, different way to prepare it. But that's what I do. So if you ever want any information on any recipes, like I said, I'll be here for a few minutes, and I'll be handing out my cards. If you'd like to keep in touch with me or write me, I can email you an address. Email you a recipe for anything that you can ask for, and you just tell me if it have to be a low this, low that, and I'll make sure. But one thing you have to get ready for is it's not going to have salt in it. Okay?
Wow. Thank you, Chef O. Appreciate it.
Hey, David.
And Annamarie, many patients feel overwhelmed when they first hear kidney-friendly diet. What's one simple starting point or strategy you recommend to help people make sustainable changes to their eating habits?
To me, it's in the word itself, kidney-friendly. And we get so concerned and worried about changing everything and taking things out and removing things, and that word no starts to become prevalent. But I think if we stand back and look at it from a realistic point of view and consider that we need to keep it simple, need to keep it kidney-friendly, and add foods instead of take foods away, that is going to give us a higher level of experience and enjoyment and fulfillment when we're experiencing different foods. As Chef O has stated, adding different foods, trying new foods, layering in new flavors, new experiences, that keeps it fresh and fun. And we don't necessarily have to give our diet an overhaul if we need to change or accommodate our nutrition because of a disease status. But we may have to make some adjustments. We may have to maneuver around a few labs, but really, all foods can fit. It's just around balance and moderation and knowing how to adjust.
Thank you, Annamarie. Any other questions? All right, thank you. That's all for this time we have for our session. I'm sorry? Oh, sure. One question, please.
I know it's low in sodium, but do you have any concerns about it? Potassium content and people watching potassium? And the second follow-up is on your use of red wine vinegar and champagne vinegar as a flavorful additive to foods.
Okay, back to the potassium. I watch that very closely when I do recipes on the potassium. I'm going to make sure it has a very low potassium level. And red wine vinegar is good. I love red wine vinegar, but you have to watch it. But another thing I want to say, talk to your dietitian. See what your dietitian, each person here has a different body, mentality, or what they can and cannot have. And each one of us probably can say, I've got this on potassium, I got this low on my BUN, my creatinine, or whatever. So check with your dietitian first and then go with it. But back to your question, all the recipes that I do or work with are very low in phosphorus and potassium, but it's not out of the range of that you're not getting any potassium, okay, or phosphorus. Red wine vinegar, I use it mainly for vinaigrette. I don't cook with it that much. I love making my dressing with red wine vinegar.
Great. I'd like to thank Annamarie and Chef O.
Wait a minute, one more.
We have one more question, one last question.
Difference between the various rices.
Oh, that's one of my favorite questions.
Right. And then also as a substitute, potentially things like quinoa and others.
So when we think about the foods such as whole grains, and we get into the topic of the grain hierarchy, the more dense the grain, the more fiber the grain, the less the minerals are actually going to be absorbed because the fiber structure of the grain is more intact, which means it's not going to be readily bioavailable, ready for absorption. Quinoa is a really good grain for both protein content, so you may want to be careful as far as protein, but for the most part, it's a safe grain to include. But when we're looking at white rice versus brown rice, that brown rice is much more healthier. It's got more fiber, it's got more nutrients, it has not been processed or stripped, so to speak, as the refined white rice. So I like to lean towards the brown rices. But if someone has never eaten a dense grain or brown rice, then I caution you to go a little bit slow and make sure you're drinking a lot of water, because for some persons, they may feel a little bit of bloating and a little bit of discomfort. So you might want to just ease into it and do half white, half brown until your body kind of adjusts. But yes, the more nutrient dense, the better for both diabetes and kidney disease.
Great. Thank you. Thank you again, Annamarie and Chef O. We really appreciate sharing your expertise with us. Thank you.